Hello.
Oh, we saw Mary Poppins.
Oh, we sure did, right? Were you doing your best Mary Poppins like smile on the thumbnail? We were also having a laugh beforehand about Dave shooting the nail gun in the car the other day.
Yeah, apparently it wasn't actually loaded, but I'm like, I was watching the video at the time, and it's like, yep, that seems like something he'd do.
That's why I didn't realize until you just told me 30 seconds ago that it wasn't loaded. I just assumed it was and thought nothing of it, really.
Yeah, I'm like, it's his car.
Sort of like when the kid breaks his own toys.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, well, you got your own self to blame.
Yeah.
Again, if I was Brad, I'd be pissed because that was like an inch from his head.
No, and it was like I told you before, where I was like, if it were anybody else, I would have been like, you did not just fire that like an inch from my head. But since it was Dave, I'm like, well, okay, yeah. I mean, I trust Dave. I trust Dave in the same way that, like, all right, like I trust Penn and Teller to shoot an apple off of my head.
Go ahead, do it. I believe in you.
I believe it. You can do it. It's fine. That was in the what the fuck did we review last week? It was in when we reviewed Spider-Man. This movie's awesome. Yes, thank you, Dave.
Pew, pew, pew. Didn't even prove the point he was trying to make. It just proved that you couldn't do it with that one particular nail gun.
Because he didn't even mention what review it was from,
Nope,
which was the Evil Dead midnight screenings that we did. So anyway, I don't think chat's working again either.
No.
But yeah, I don't know why that's happening. It's the second time in a row. I mean, I think
maybe they're still back
it's there.
Maybe
Okay. It's just that nobody's talking.
Maybe they've gone to where the lost things go.
Need Mary Poppins to show up and sing to Dave about playing with nail guns. I've come to look after the gobble children.
Just the one, really. The nail gun one. You know who you are.
So anyway, we did go see Mary Poppins Returns. Was this a movie you were looking forward to?
I was. I mean,
Same here.
The original was never one that I was particularly into. I was more of like a Bedknobs and Broomsticks sort of kid.
Yeah.
But I love Lin-Manuel Miranda. And
Yeah.
I love a musical, and I love I think any movie that incorporates cartoons into live action,
Especially
in any sort of
2D
competent
animation.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was looking forward to it. I
Yeah.
thought it was fine.
Yeah.
As long as you don't think too hard about it.
I know, right? I mean, we'll get into that because I'm sure we're thinking the same exact thing.
I'm sure we are.
I'm really sure we are. No, I thought this movie was delightfully silly.
Uh-huh.
It was consistently delightful, sometimes very much emphasis on silly.
Yes.
Which, sir, it's a Mary Poppins film, so okay, sure. But like compared to the first movie, I did really like how the situation that the Bankses are in this one is more dire than the situation from the first movie.
Boy, I sure didn't.
You didn't think so?
We must be. We're not thinking the same thing.
No, I'm sure okay. I'm speaking more so just kind of general as a plot synopsis.
Yeah.
Versus little things that kind of happen along the way. I just mean the plot, the sentence-long plot in general. They're about to lose their house.
Yeah.
The bank's going to collect on their house. What, in terms of
well,
that...
that's fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
in that term, the stakes were raised.
Yeah.
The thought that I couldn't stop shaking throughout the movie is that I really wish they hadn't killed the mom. Because given the Mary Poppins treatment to someone who, like... When it's like, oh, your dad's kind of a jerk and your mom's off being a suffragette. Let's sing a song about how cool it can be to be a person sometimes. That's fine, but to give that treatment to a child grappling with grief and loss is kind of grotesque. Because they're like, we're lost in the fog, both physically and metaphorically, Mary Poppins. And she's like, have you tried singing a song while BMX bikers dance in the background?
I didn't really so much have an issue with that. My only thing about that is a couple of things. I understand it from a writing standpoint, how they want the two the Banks children there, and they can't have kids with each other. Or they can, that would just be weird. So I get it from that standpoint.
Yes, I suppose technically they could. Why couldn't you go that route?
Come on! This is like 200 years ago? that means nothing.
You think their shit is dire now. World War II is coming right about the time those boys are going to hit 18. So, I mean...
I know, right? You ever sit there in a movie like this and just go, I wonder if Hitler exists in this universe?
He does. He's one of the penguins in disguise.
Oh,
No,
well.
he's the Banks kid because I mentioned he was a painter and he wasn't going so well.
Oh no, yeah. S- but I didn't. So I didn't so much have a problem with that from that aspect. Here's what I was thinking during that, though. In terms of musicals that we've seen this year that have to do with a dead mother and also featuring Meryl Streep and Colin Firth, Mamma Mia 2 was the better movie.
Oh, Mamma Mia 2 was leagues better than this. At least in Mamma Mia 2, they encouraged her to talk about her dead mother.
Yeah.
Like, the kids tried once in this movie, and Mary's like, how about instead we go inside this china pot and take a wild ride to a musical show?
I'm kind of in the same boat with you on this. Not really so much about the mother thing, because I was like, all right, this very much does feel like it's a mid-1960s Disney musical.
Oh, yeah.
And in that, it is really just doing that again. Like, it wants it to be that style and feel of a movie. Like, it feels like a direct sequel to Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I expect them to handle a situation like that in the way that they did in this movie.
That's what I mean by if you don't think about it too hard.
Yeah.
Like, as a silly, fluffy musical from Disney, it's competent and charming. It's just if you think too much about, like, the grief and loss aspect, you're like, oh, this is gross. This is super gross.
I'm sort of in the same ballpark with you, but in terms of, like, another thing. Because I totally understand what you're saying. I didn't have the problem with that with the dead mom. But since the situation that they're in, between losing their house and they have like 2 days to find the share thing. We'll get to that in a second.
I'm sure you saw me flapping.
Yeah, no, I was doing the same thing inside, but like so because the situation is really so heavy in a lot of aspects, when the kids do march in the room and are talking about, like, we just sang with this musical number inside of the bathtub that we went in, and the dad.
Oh no, the children have snapped.
Yeah, I know, and Michael Banks is like, okay, fine, I'm dealing with my own stuff right now. It's like, okay, I kind of understand it from that aspect. I give it a point for the fact that, like, again, a situation they're in is the stakes are a bit higher than in the first one, but because of that. Some of the whimsy, I understand why the parents are really, really frustrated and maybe don't want to talk about, like, this musical number you just had with some books.
Well, I feel like, too, it gave an interesting new angle, whether real or imagined by me, because, again, I was kind of focusing on the grossness aspect, to the Mary Poppins character, because it's kind of this bullshit is all she's got in her arsenal.
Yeah.
And there were a couple scenes where her smile got, like, a little hard and brittle, where it was like, well, okay, you know, that they're gonna lose their house, their mother died, Jesus, their father's basically having a nervous breakdown in front of them. Obviously hasn't actually taken care of these children in about a year, to the point where they're, like, having to take care of the grocery and, like, begging bread off of the baker because he's not giving them enough money for food. And all I have in my bullshit arsenal is a song about bubbles. So let's go do the bubble song and we'll see if that fixes it.
You know what? I like that. I kind of like that. Like, because it's like, all right, she's got it. It gives her some harder stuff to work with, because the plot line from the first one, it's like, okay, I can handle this. The dad's just got to, like, you know, loosen his britches a little bit. Fine.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, all right, that's perfectly in her wheelhouse. And this is like, okay, like, this makes it a little harder for Mary Poppins.
Like okay, we tried the bubble song and that didn't work. Paint World? Oh no, they've been stolen immediately.
I know, right?
They find the 3 bad guys in the entirety of this ceramic pot.
You talking about when like, honest John Falfellow shows up for a second? But I did really like, because I was constantly pretty entertained by this. Like, I did find it to be really charming. And, I mean, I was tapping my foot all the way through this movie, which, to be perfectly fair, doesn't really always mean I'm enjoying it. I typically will do that with any musical. That's kind of my version of when you say you cry during something, it's really
Doesn't
not
mean
indicative.
it's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, but with that being said, like, I was enjoying myself in this. Largely down to a lot of the performances in the film and the musical numbers, and it was doing a lot of things better than here's another thing I'll compare this to. it was doing a lot of different things better than I thought that Christopher Robin movie did that we saw.
Yeah, the dad was at least likable in this. Because
Yeah.
Christopher Robin, like, towards the middle when he was, like, screaming at Winnie the Pooh, it's like, I don't want you to... I don't want you to learn a lesson and get better. I want you to just go away.
And the lesson in the other one was and I thought Christopher Robin was fine, the movie. The lessons in that movie were a little... because that movie kind of... There is, like, sort of a pet peeve of mine that goes along with, like, a movie like Christopher Robin, where a lot of the conflict is Christopher Robin coming in and saying, okay, I gotta work this weekend. These people are gonna lose their jobs if I don't handle this situation. And then the family's like, you said you were gonna take us on vacation. He's like... If I don't do this, people are going to lose their job. Oh, okay, whatever. Like, I don't like...
It's always something with you.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. And this movie really didn't do that.
Yeah, this
like,
one had a
all.
good, like, interplay between him and the kids. 'Cause
Yeah.
he'd be like, he'd shout at them just out of sheer frustration. They'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, Dad, we're sorry. And he's like, no, I'm sorry. Come back. Let's talk
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
But
Oh,
not
no,
about your
totally.
mother. Never about your mother.
That conversation is off limits. I did enjoy...
Nor about the fact that I look like a 12-year-old wearing a fake mustache.
Yeah, I did like the little nods to the first one, where this magic that we saw these two Banks kids going through in the first one, down to the kite, the little snow globe they have at the beginning.
Yeah, look, at the end, I think they flash past a gazebo with
yeah.
the band from It's a Jolly Holiday with Mary.
Yeah, in the opening had the homeless woman with the doves still sleeping on the steps.
Yeah.
She hasn't moved in 25 years. or maybe she's been dead 10 of those years and no one has really noticed.
Except the doves. They've been eating her slowly but surely.
Exactly.
They're very small. It's taking them a while.
Giving 2 turtle doves to Kelvin McAllister didn't help shit. So,
It's the same old lady from Home Alone 2
It
Lost
is.
in New York.
it is the same person. That's
I'll buy
in
it.
continuity now.
Headcanon accepted.
Yeah. But, like, so all of these magic items that they had from the first one, or that would at least remind them of that. Like, okay, yeah, the snow globe, the kite, other things. A lot of years has passed. It's been 25 years since the events of the first movie. So a lot of that stuff is just up in the attic because they're adults now. And,
Yep.
so little things like I liked that about the movie. It certainly reached a point where it started just kind of doing the first movie again.
Again, Mary Poppins is like, shoot, okay, let's try this thing. Okay, let's try this thing.
Not really so much that. Like, that I enjoyed, because, again, I'm like, I like that she's got, like, a much harder material to work with right now. She's playing to a tough audience. No, I just mean, like, granted, I mean, it only kind of did this a few times, really, so it could have been where this could have been just one of those movies is just 100% doing the first movie again. But there was enough differences throughout it. But when it started reaching a point, like in the third act, where the kids make a scene in the bank, and that gets them in trouble with the bank manager, who's like kind of the villain, and then the dad gets in trouble over this with the bank.
Firth.
Yeah. Villain.
In my head, I kept going like, oh no, Country
Country
Bear
Bell's been crushed. That's what he's playing in this movie.
Just like Britishy.
He is playing a more, like, competent version of the same bad guy from Christopher Robin. Because in this, when we first meet Colin Firth in this movie,
He's acting really nice.
he is. Like, we know he's going to turn out to be the villain.
Yeah.
But I can see
Because
why...
we've seen children's movies before.
Yeah. But, the person in the scene wouldn't, because he's being really charming. He's being charming Colin Firth.
Also because we saw that movie where he, like, bashed her head in with an iron.
Oh, and we saw that Nicole Kidman movie. That we can't give her...
Which I think also had Christopher Robin in it. Winnie the Pooh.
Was Ewan McGregor in that?
No, like she was like that was the one thing she could remember for her kid. Was the Winnie the Pooh story they used to read.
Oh gosh, you remember more about this movie than I do. The Nicole Kidman one?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember. All I remember about that movie is the ending. That's like all I remember about
I remember the iron.
Yeah. But no, like, so he is, when you first meet him, he's acting like a nice guy, really, and then he's cartoonishly evil throughout the rest of it. Exactly. Like, so it was, kind of doing that sort of same thing again, and instead of the chimney sweep song, we have
The lamplighter
the
song.
lamplighter song. So I'm like, but I was like,
It's like Lin-Manuel was given a rap break.
yeah. Which granted, it was like, okay, I know why this is here because the song from the first one is so good and that routine is so good. So of course there's kind of an equivalent in this one. It was still really impressively done.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Chim Chimney it was not, but I mean...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but it was still... I had a good time watching it, like how they're using these like bicycles practically as motorcycles, doing tricks on these ramps and shit. Like, I was like, and I enjoyed him. I liked him a lot in this
Yeah,
film.
he did a really good job, I thought. And he wasn't like... I am not a very good judge at appropriate British accent. Growing up, I thought Dick Van Dyke did a fine job, and then I grew up and everyone's like, he's Australian. I'm like, is he?
I don't give Dick Van Dyke slack for that, really. Like, I rewatched the first
You give
one.
him slack or flack?
Flack, sorry.
Got it.
Flack. Only because, like, yeah, okay, no, it's certainly not any kind of perfect Cockney accent, but it never comes across like it's supposed to be.
I mean, it is hilarious.
Yeah, oh, it's funny, but
that's how you live and breathe.
he plays in that movie. Bert in that movie is like a live action cartoon character. He feels like this is exactly what this character would sound like if he were an animated character. So, yeah, so that his accent in that movie, like, is it like a bad accent? Yeah, but I never got the point that it was supposed to be perfect.
Amazing.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I felt he did fine. Like I said,
Yeah.
I wouldn't make fun of it. But
Yeah.
that to me was kind of a bad thing.
Oh, you wanted it to be worse?
No, I wanted it to be memorable. Like,
Oh.
I wanted to be doing a little bit of a voice, you know, but
Dick Van Dyke.
it's fine. I feel like he probably had to do competently because Dick Van Dyke was made fun of for years and years and years afterwards.
Yeah, Bert is more memorable than Jack in this film, but
He's making this face like,
yeah, but I did enjoy him a lot. Whenever he was on screen, I thought it made me want to see him in more movies, certainly.
he's a charming little dude.
Yeah,
And they played to his strengths, I feel like.
Definitely. Yeah, it did. But okay, now let's talk about this certificate of
Oh my god! So they're trying to find the proof that they own shares in the bank because the bank's gonna take away their house and they don't have any money to pay back the loan that dude took out to, I guess, pay his wife's medical bills or something. And the bank is, since he got behind in the bills because he was a shattered husk of a man after the loss of his wife, they just demanded that he pay the loan back in full, and he didn't have the money for it. But somewhere in the house, he knew that he had certificates of shares that his grandpa had owned shares at the bank. And Colin Firth, since he was evil, insisted that he find the certificate that proved that he had it and present it to him by midnight on Friday.
yeah.
Meanwhile, the youngest bank's kid, Georgie, finds like a piece of paper, holds it up briefly, and like, oh, it's got a drawing of my family on it. But the back of it was obviously some sort of certificate of something or other.
Man.
And so we, as the audience, were like, but it's red. Why didn't they find it? It was in a box of stuff they had already gone through. And then he rips it up and glues it to a kite, and we don't see it again for like an hour. And we're just sitting there like, but it's on the kite. We know it's on the kite.
That was bothering me too. Like, I realize that a movie like this, it's not like you go into this movie thinking it's going to be wildly unpredictable or something like that, but there's a difference between a movie just, simply going from point A to point B, and a movie where you're, for 90% of the movie, you're 1,000 steps in front of the other characters.
Yeah. Well, 'cause it felt to me less like they weren't trying to surprise us and more like they were trying to surprise us, but mistimed the flash of the back of the picture.
I know,
like they meant
right?
it to be fast enough that like you could go back and rewatch the movie and be like, oh, you can see on the back it's a certificate of the
man.
They show it for long enough that it's like certificate of sale.
Yeah.
And so they'll spend the rest of the movie like, but he like.
I know how this is gonna. I sort of know how this is gonna end. Like, I know how this is going to get resolved. But what they do in the third act of this movie is insane.
Yeah, it's
like,
pretty amazing.
It's like okay, like it's Mary Poppins, so certainly it's a universe with magic and really about anything can happen, what they do to get this certificate to the bank is like less like Mary Poppins magic and more like something you'd see in Skyscraper with Dwayne Johnson.
He hunchbacked the fuck up Big Ben.
Man. So yeah, I know Lin-Manuel Miranda is climbing Big Ben.
He's got like all the lamplighter ladders, and he's like tink, 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 and just like scaling up the sheer face of it. Gets to the top, and he like catapults up. It's like fucking. You know what it was like? It was like the end of The Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or just like on Big Ben with like the wind all whistling, except the Radigan wasn't there.
It was going,
which is good because Radigan would have kicked his ass.
It was going in a place that was different than I thought. When Mary Poppins says we need to turn back time, I thought she was gonna ride that bicycle so fast.
I think she's gonna pull out her time turner or some shit.
Spun the world around backwards.
But no, he can scale fucking Big Ben.
Yeah.
And again, that thing has an interior. They could have just like picked the lock to the door. That's
not
probably at the
magical
bottom.
enough.
That's true.
But it's like I buy magic in this universe. Absolutely, of course you have to go see a movie like this. But this movie, but the most unbelievable thing that these movies have ever done is when he's climbing up this thing, and that takes far less time than the other characters driving to the bank. Like, that's okay. This isn't magic right here. This is just kind of not the best writing in the world.
Yeah, it's just her knowing a guy who knows how to climb some stuff.
But when this movie was like working though, it was. I really liked her in this. I thought she was really funny. Like she would throw out like just like a one-liner that would get me. Like I laughed quite a bit in this. I like in the animated sequence the back and forth that they're having with the animals. I really enjoyed that. It looked like mid-60s Disney animation.
And I like that they like didn't kind of pull their punches, especially in terms of that raunchy ass song that they sang while they were in the pot.
Yeah.
That felt like a very mid-60s decision. Just be like, let's put a song in here for the daddies.
Yeah, you talking about when the movie turns into Chicago for 5 minutes?
Yep.
I really enjoyed that. I like the effects work that went out when he's step dancing on the books that are floating
like the
underneath
penguins
them.
are like picking him up.
Yeah, I did like that the talking umbrella got a lot more lines in this one too than in the first film.
Yes.
So, issues with the story aside,
just don't think too hard.
yeah, it's totally worth a matinee. Like, it's a good big screen experience, especially if you have a fondness for this era, early mid-60s era of live-action Disney cartoon, then yeah, absolutely. It's a fun movie.
I mean, like, if you got a kid who likes musicals, you'll have a much better time watching this than, like, fucking Sing.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I've seen Sing so many times, you guys.
I was having
so many times.
I've only seen it once, and dear God, am I sorry. So I was talking to my dad the other day, and he goes, we were joking about like man, the movies that I used to have you drag me to back then. I go, I'll rewatch something, and I'll be sitting there laughing like, oh my God, my poor dad took me to go see this, something like Mac and Me or shit like that. I'll bring up Mac and Me to my dad, like we were having dinner, and I'm like, do you remember when I made you take me to see Mac and Me? And the look on his face was like I mentioned Nom. Like, yeah, I know. He's like, that was awful. Oh my God. He goes, but you think that's bad? Wait till you have to watch a movie dozens of times. My dad goes, I still can't watch Beetlejuice to this day. I go, did I make you watch that a lot? He's like, constantly. It was always Beetlejuice.
Yeah, in my house it's Trolls.
Yeah.
And Moana. That one scene doesn't make me cry anymore. It took like 20 watching.
Oh sure.
And then God, there's this new show on Netflix called The Beat Bugs.
Oh yeah.
It's so bad. They bought the Beatles songs and then they made a CGI children's show about like singing bugs and they
Yes.
sing a Beatles song.
Oh hell yeah.
But they like incorporated it into the plot somehow.
I still gotta
Like,
bring over.
get high with a little help from my friends, but like she's building little wings so that she can put on a show all by herself.
I gotta bring over the Sergeant Pepper movie sometime for you to see.
Yeah, and I can show you some fucking beat bugs.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good double feature. It's great in the Sergeant Pepper movie when like they try to make it work sort of in the plot, but only because one lyric will work in context to it. So there's a character that dies in the Sergeant Pepper movie. So then it cuts to Barry Gibb who's singing "Day in the Life" only because he looks down, sees a newspaper, and the first line is "I read the news today. Oh boy." None of the rest of the song has any context to anything other than that first line. It's great. Oh yeah. But yeah, so have a double feature of that with Mary Poppins Returns.
Should we do previews?
Yeah.
Where'd you go, Bernadette? A Gone Girl for Children, I guess?
Yeah, man. Okay, that movie looked like a family version of A Simple Favor. The one
It
that
had a turn, man.
yeah, there was a turn halfway into that. Like it's like a jolly Gone Girl on the train, Simple Favor like thriller.
Paper Towns, was that what it was called?
Oh yeah, because that trailer also had like a fucking turn halfway through it. Oh, she's gone now.
Yeah, all of a sudden she's gone. Where'd you go, Bernadette? My middle school aged daughter. She gets good grades though, so I'm sure she's fine.
Alright, she's fine.
Breakthrough?
Oh, that was the religious one with the kid who falls through the
Oh,
ice.
fuck that! I was watching it, I'm like, man, I hope I don't have to watch this movie. It looks really intense. And the lady's like, I'm gonna pray for him, and his heart monitor goes beep, beep.
Spoiler alert,
like,
movie!
Yay! It'll be a Dave and Brad movie.
You gotta see more of these with us.
Nope.
No, I like that exchange there was the same thing when you and Brian were talking about trailers and got the trailer for Heaven is for Real, and you went, Heaven is for Real? What is that movie? And Brian goes, that's the one with the kid who like he gets some disease, he sees heaven or something, and then you in that trailer review you just go, oh fuck that movie. Then guess who was at that movie? Me and Dave.
Gotcha.
Anyway, that movie looks...
It looks so fucking dumb. It's like
Yeah, man.
the kid's on the ice, and then he falls in the ice, and then he's in there for like 15 minutes, but then they pray him back to health.
Oh,
Based on an unbelievable true story.
I'm sure it is. The only reason this happened is they didn't have Christopher Walken from the Dead Zone to warn him about the ice.
Instead they got Topher Grace like, we must pray for him.
Topher Grace acting his lines in that trailer like Seth Green in The Identical, where he's you can see the paycheck coming out of his mouth.
I am your preacher. I will help you get through this.
He's acting just like
Topher Grace.
Just like I would in a movie like that. That's not a parody film.
Secret Life of Pets.
Secret Life of Pets 2. It's an illumination.
Pardon my sniffles.
Oh, no problem. It's an Illumination movie. I don't care. I'm burnt out on their fucking movies, man. I'm sure it's gonna be incredibly well animated and
That's funny.
serviceable.
Like the part that we got in the preview, because the cat's all high on catnip, and so she's just like, "What other noises can I make?" Yeah. And it's like my cat used to do that when she used to get high on catnip and just make noises.
Yeah.
She's a good kitty.
I couldn't remember what trailer for Secret Life of Pets 2 we got, because there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, it said like, stay tuned for Snowball.
Yeah. There's a Snowball one as well. I kind of checked out during that trailer only because it's an Illumination movie, which means I've now seen that trailer about a dozen times. So I kind of checked out a little when that trailer was on.
Well, then enough said.
I have plenty more to say about this trailer.
A dog's way home.
We don't need to go see that. The whole movie's in the trailer.
That's like he finds a dog at the end of the trailer. It's like, oh, good. The end.
I can't wait for this fucking movie.
Maybe it'll just be that long. Like, literally the trailer is the entirety of the movie.
That movie looks awful. Between, like, the stupid manipulative ass dog voice they have in it. There's no way that voice is coming out of that dog. Can I have some cheese? I hate that shit. Fucking CGI mountain lion with the dog.
They were friends.
We're pals now, right?
Just like nuzzling heads, like fucking Taylor Lautner, like, getting pet by Bella and fucking New Moon.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the clips of that where it's just like him in like a Green Man outfit?
Oh, yeah.
Just like,
Like, what a wild set that had to be.
Wonder Park.
Oh, that was a different trailer for that one.
Yeah, this one actually kind of explained why she finds a park in the middle of fucking nowhere, which made it a little more interesting. I guess that she, like, built these, like, amusement park scenarios with her mom when she was little, and then she put away those childish things, but then she finds a park in the middle of nowhere.
Isn't that the movie we just watched? only if Mary Poppins pulled out a whole roller coaster out of her. No, yeah, that actually.
Does this make you forget about your dead mother?
Ooh, Six Flags tickets. Yeah, it does. I was kind of sold in this Wonder Park movie when, what was it? They go to the park and then the woodchucks are standing there. This roller coaster happens and they go, "What the chuck?"
What the chuck?
Like, sold. What the chuck?
Detective
Yeah, man.
Pikachu, which I'm still mad about.
Oh, because so I'm
having a baby like a week before that movie comes out, so
Yeah.
I'm probably not gonna make it.
No, I think it's one you could probably bring the kids to. Seems fine, really.
I'm sure no one will mind if I have a 1 week old there.
Oh, hell, that happened when we went to go see Battleship, remember?
Also, we'll come in like a bubble so that no one can get germs on them. So yeah, I'm sure you and whoever you take to see that movie with you is gonna really enjoy it.
I guess it is based on the game.
Yeah, they were saying in the comments, because I never played it, but
The Detective Pikachu game.
it's like a murder. Pikachu helps solve it.
It is graphic. Yeah, someone sent me some shots of like the case for it as well, the cover. Like, oh well, maybe I'll have to watch somebody play it sometime.
Okay, The Lion King.
Oh.
I teared up a little bit at this preview, but that was in preparation for the next preview we're about to talk about.
Yeah, so I can't really bring myself to care much about this movie.
No?
Largely because I'm way more looking forward to the movie that's the next trailer that we're going to talk about.
Did you not watch Lion King a lot growing up?
No, I like The Lion King a lot. I wouldn't put it in my top. I probably wouldn't put it in my top 10, honestly, of Disney cartoons. But no, I like it just fine. And I'm sure, like, there's going to be a lot of people that really like this movie's going to make $1 billion automatically. Like, of course it is. Maybe the movie for me will be able to get by fine on being cute, because I'm sure it will be. And maybe for me it'll get by fine on that. I have a feeling that this one, I'm gonna have a problem with this one, like I've had with maybe a couple others, where this one feels like it's gonna be one of those. It's just the same movie again, and that's really not my kind of thing. Particularly, it's when it comes to the Disney remakes, not really. But I mean, I don't know. It's just a teaser trailer.
Well, yeah, we had that conversation during Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Like, as long as it's done well, I don't give a shit if it's the same movie again. It's got new people, they remake the Spider-Man thing like 5 fucking times.
They make sequels to Spider-Man. They don't do shot for shot remakes of Spider-Man.
Well, it's not shot for shot, but it's still
come
like,
on.
hello.
That trailer is a shot for shot.
New Spider-Man. Oh no, my uncle's dead.
It's not the same script, but with 10 minutes of pointless deleted scenes added in.
They added a whole backstory for Maurice, her father, but we already had this conversation.
Oh, Kevin Kline was the only good thing about that fucking movie.
Put in a whole subplot where they murdered her mother.
Yeah, I take it back.
Apparently
Wildly necessary.
That's what Disney fucking does now. Is it murders mothers?
That's what Disney's always done.
That's what Disney does more now. Is murder more mothers.
I don't know about that. Like they were.
The Lion King, at least it murdered her father.
They were in the mom killing business since the very beginning.
Okay, you know what? At least in Bambi, when they killed his mother, they didn't make him sing a little fucking song right afterwards.
They should have.
The next song he had was the Twitter painted song, and he was like a grown ass adult by then.
Yeah, I haven't seen Bambi in like 30 years.
That's the shit out of Bambi growing up. Like Bambi.
Watch the shit out of Bambi.
Bambi and Cinderella, and then Little Mermaid and Lion King, but mostly fucking Dumbo.
Now, Dumbo is my favorite. This is the kind of thing I like. Not so much.
Yeah, they've changed it. They took the crows out, which is probably a good idea. And they made it. It's like a poor circus versus rich circus, like a
Yeah.
poor camp versus rich camp across the lake sort of situation.
Michael
and they're,
Keaton's the founder
stealing
again.
elephants from each other. And
Yeah, man.
and
Like,
they start singing Baby Mine, and I'm like, hold on, here comes
right?
the fireworks.
Man, I cried in the trailer for
Yeah.
this. Like
I was like literally sobbing.
the trailer of this movie is one of the best movies I've seen this year.
He's got like his big soulful Dumbo eyes.
Yeah.
They put him with that clown makeup that's depressing as shit in the cartoon, and it's somehow worse on like a
Man.
CGI elephant.
Yeah, like I'm excited for this, like, cause I like this, like, cause if the movie turns out to be disappointing, that's really gonna suck, cause I'm looking forward to this. But even if it does come out and it is disappointing, I'll at least be like, okay, this is a different take on like the Dumbo story. Like, it's gonna hit the same notes that Dumbo did, but it's taking a completely different route to get there. I liked Pete's Dragon a lot when that came out a couple of years ago.
I didn't see the first one enough to know about like anything about the plot. But I see
Pete's
what you're saying.
Dragon?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It adds more value when they actually make a new movie out of the old movie.
Yeah, like I guess Maleficent as well. I mean, not quality of that movie aside, I kind of remember it being all right. But it was something different, and this definitely looks like it's the case. It's Tim Burton doing the circus again. Fuck yeah! And Michael Keaton and Danny DeVito, and the cast is solid on the movie. No, I'm really looking forward to that. And again, Dumbo is my favorite of the Disney animated movies. So I'm excited to see what they're doing with this.
But again, they can't do... Well, my favorite song is Pink Elephants. And they must do that song because it shows pink elephants in the trailer. And my second favorite song being I See an Elephant Fly.
I seen a needle that winked his eye.
I've seen a peanut stand. I heard
At
a
a
rubber
rubber
band.
band.
I seen a sewing needle that winked its eye. But again, aged super, super poorly.
I've seen worse.
See, worse than a literal cartoon minstrel show.
You know who you're talking to.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I have. I've seen worse in terms of Disney as far as that goes. The crows have aged a little bit better than
Like Song of the South. Yeah, that shit's in the vault.
depending on what country you live in. There's a deluxe edition of that available in Japan.
Oh no.
I got a bootleg of that at home. Classic. That was his old Brer Fox.
And Brer Fox and the Tar Baby, as I recall. Isn't it Brer Fox and the Tar Baby?
Brer Fox and the Tar Baby. Wasn't that Springsteen's old band? Sure. I'll go with that joke. Yeah, it was the Brer Fox and the Tar Baby. I
never saw Song of the South, but I had a book growing up that had that story in it. And even at the time, I'm like, this is fucked up, man.
It's on. Song of the South is like, I mean, you know, even looking at it, given in a historical context, given when it came out and everything, it's honestly really just kind of a lame movie. I watched it recently, a couple of years ago. I did an episode on it, and it's not. When you take everything that's controversial out of the movie out of it, it's still just not that interesting of a film. It's kind of boring. There's way better things you could be watching that have aged poorly.
You know what we should rewatch that I haven't seen in a while? It's The Incredible Mr. Limpet.
I love that movie.
Because I feel like there's probably parts of that movie that aren't going to have aged very well.
It happens.
Like, doesn't he have like a fish girlfriend? And her name is just Lady Fish? Does that sound remotely familiar? And like he tries to have sex with her?
I don't know. That could age well. We had an Oscar-nominated movie last year called Lady Bird.
She was an actual factual
She
lady
was
bird,
actually
as
a
far
bird.
As I know from that movie.
She just turned into a bird at the end of the film. That was how she survived diving out of the car at the beginning.
Again, I have not seen it. I know they played Crash by Dave Matthews Band, and that's like all I know about that movie.
It's actually a pretty good movie.
I've heard it's good. I just haven't seen it.
Were there any other trailers?
No, let's see all of them. I got right into Dumbo, just tears streaming down my
I know,
face.
right?
It's like time to watch Mary Poppins.
I did cry way more at that trailer than I did at Mary Poppins.
Yeah, Mary Poppins got me a couple times, but Dumbo is that fucking song.
Damn, man, yeah.
Right after they stole his mother, and he's just sitting there like
Yeah,
a sad
shit.
elephant pile with like clown makeup streaming down his face.
That's one of the best trailers I've ever seen.
Baby, why don't you cry?
No, I'm so excited for that fucking movie. Damn, I got like 6 movies I gotta see this week.
Have fun with that.
I got Bumblebee tomorrow. I got Aquaman Friday. I'm gonna have to see some like indie flicks mixed in with all of those. So we're heading out of town soon, so I gotta squeeze in a bunch of movies before I leave. So yeah, you'll see me back at least several more times.
I gotta make a shit ton of cookies, but I'm not doing that on YouTube, so you guys won't know about it.
Yeah, we haven't started a cooking show yet. All right, everyone, take care.
Bye.
See ya.
Technically, I did make cookies for Flaming Brian that one time.